You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 151. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
I'm Jeff Barnhart, savior of Counter-Earth.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out this show, plus many other cool podcasts like The All New Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Superhero Speak at rhymeswithgeek.com. Comic Reflections is also available on backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. If you enjoy our show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. So today, this is really exciting. We're the first of two episodes where we're going to devote to Adam Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just jump right in it. The first issue is, it's Warlock number 1. The story is called The Day of the Prophet. This was written by Roy Thomas, penciled by Gil Kane, and and inked by Tom Sutton.
Yeah. Okay.
So we open with the High Evolutionary. He's got an opening
nice
monologue.
little title, I think.
Yeah, he's a neat character. I like him.
Yeah, he reminds me of somebody, though, right? Similar to Galactus.
Well, remember that story where we read where they fought?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So anyway,
yeah.
What is he monologuing about? I forget.
Oh, he's talking about
Counter-Earth and how he created it, and he's thinking about destroying it.
Mm-hmm. And we see a space launch, and that's when people cared about space launches. They don't care anymore.
Well, right.
Until somebody dies, and it's all everyone's crying about it, but no one cares about launching stuff into space anymore.
No.
At least not enough to pay for it.
Right. If only we still had the commies to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they'll come back. Don't worry. Okay, so the spacecraft is about to discover Counter-Earth. The Earth, which is exact opposite of our planet Earth.
On the other side of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
There was a movie about this called The Far Side of the Sun.
Yeah, there's been several movies and several science fiction books on it. Intriguing idea. They know that this is not true, unfortunately. I was so disappointed when I found that out.
That there's no Counter-Earth.
Yeah. And the Counter-Earth has no superheroes except Adam Warlock.
Right.
Which is interesting. They go into that Spider-Man or Peter Parker died from radiation
and Reed Richards and Dr. Doom are friends, but they don't have powers.
They're frenemies.
They're frenemies, but they don't have powers or anything like that. So yeah, it's a very interesting scenario on Counter-Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the High Evolutionary calls. Let's see. I guess he summons Adam Warlock.
Mm-hmm. And he tells him he's planning to destroy Counter-Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam pleads for its preservation.
Yeah. Adam is with this group of people.
They're basically like disciples of his. Remember, he's the Christ figure.
Right. Yeah. And they're kind of boring and useless.
Just like the real disciples.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know about that, but it's sort of...
Oh.
I think that Adam Warlock is kind of... he's not the most friendliest, and he doesn't crack jokes, so he's kind of... So you need some people to crack jokes and to be real people.
Right. Adam Warlock definitely needs some people to play off him, because he's pretty straight.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, if he's going to be a messiah, he kind of has to be.
Yeah, he's straighter than Superman. You know, Superman will at least play a trick on somebody or something.
Yeah.
Have some fun and
Sure.
laugh with them, but Adam doesn't laugh. So neither does a High Evolutionary.
No.
Okay, so there's a man beast.
Right.
Who is a bad guy, who's Satan, I guess.
Yeah, Satan or the Antichrist or whatever, but yeah.
Mm.
And remember, this story, this takes place before that story in the Hulk where Adam Warlock finished off the man beast, which we read previously. We read that like a year ago.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm having trouble remembering it. Okay. Oh, Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah. So, but Adam's kind of like having some moments where he's trying to convince his followers to, well, stay with him. He's got kind of one guy's kind of a doubting Thomas.
Yeah, he's the angry black man. Why should I trust you, white guy? And
he's not even white. Adam is orange or golden.
Yeah, golden. So, yeah, but he decides to follow anyway. So.
Yeah. So they journey into the city, and Adam encounters this weird street preacher.
Yeah, well, he encounters a city, for one thing.
Yeah.
That's weird to him. But you've been to the universe. You've never been to a city before? They don't have cities on other planets?
I don't know.
So this prophet is telling it like it is. And you've met street preachers. They're kind of entertaining.
I've seen some. I stay away. But
yeah. I don't invite them to my home, but they're interesting.
Sure.
And the street preacher is yakking it up, and he's got a sister, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happens to her in the story.
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
But
there are these two guys looking at him who are dressed like birds, and they come down and they attack the prophet, and then Adam Warlock helps them out, and they have a big fight.
Now, these two bird guys, they are kind of an analogous to the Hawk and Dove characters, which were happening over at DC.
Interesting.
Or which had happened fairly recently at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting because Gil Kane, after Steve Ditko left those characters, Gil Kane drew those characters at DC.
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely not a coincidence. It's done on purpose.
Yeah, there's P. John and Hawk.
Yeah, so Hawk and Dove.
P. John, what does it mean?
Like pigeon?
Oh, for crying out loud. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Go.
That's why I'm here to spell certain things out for you. So he has a fight with these guys, and what are they going to? It makes it look like they're going to assassinate the street preacher, but that's not really what they're about.
Right, they're trying to get Adam Warlock and beat him up. And do they?
Yeah.
No, they lose.
Yeah.
So Adam Warlock talks to the prophet, and the prophet says, "Oh, well, I'll lead you to my lair, and we'll talk about it." And
when they get there, it reveals he's the man beast.
Mm-hmm.
And so the man beast and those two bird guys, they're like, some people are like kind of people animals evolved by the high evolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one big difference on Counter Earth. There's that thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And there was some. Okay, he sees him. He brings him down, and then Adam sees a man beast. He goes up there, and it's a mannequin. And then the prophet pulls up his mask, and I'm that man beast.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
For that issue, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how Adam knew it was a man beast, though.
Powers?
Yeah, maybe. He tears at the mannequin, and then he says, "Oh, you must be man beast," but to the prophet. And I says, "Well, how does that? I don't get the reasoning." But that's why I'm not a superhero.
Because once he realized it was the mannequin that looked like the man beast, he realized somebody else there had to be the real one.
Mm-hmm.
And so who but the guy that led him there?
Okay.
So
lucky guess.
Okay. So, but as luck would have it, we have the very next issue of Warlock, number 2. Now, kind of a shift with the creative team. This story is called Countdown for Counter Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Thomas plotted it, but Mike Friedrich did the script. So Roy is kind of handing the series off to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pencils are by John Buscema, who are kind of unrecognizable because he's inked by Tom Sutton, who I like, but it's an odd blend. For some reason, Gil Kane couldn't do this issue. He's listed as a spiritual advisor. He probably overcommitted to something else and just couldn't do this issue. But that's kind of what's going on here as far as creative team wise.
You know, it's been interesting that they kept notes of what's going on. Someone kept a detailed diary.
I'm sure somebody has somewhere.
But that's be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we start where
we left off.
we left off.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. All right. So big fight.
Yeah. The Man Beast sicks his henchmen on Adam Warlock, and they fight and fight.
Yeah. Some interesting creatures.
Yeah. One guy who is like a mutated ape.
Mm-hmm.
Adam turns him back into an ape rather than an ape man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a snake guy and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's like Skeletor's henchmen.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you're a big He-Man fan.
I love He-Man.
Yeah, I guess I enjoyed it when I was a kid. So.
I like He-Man. Look,
I enjoyed it when I was in college. It came out in college time.
Yeah, He-Man is great. It's a great analog for Captain Marvel. Say a magic word, pick up a magic thing, become a superhero.
Yeah. Well, at least Captain Marvel looked a lot different than his. Adam looks exactly like He-Man.
Prince Adam, I know. It was
nobody
ridiculous.
else on the planet.
It's like, gee, you think Superman has a weak secret identity cover?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Prince Adam is like, what? You just look like, hey, how come He-Man looks just like Adam with less clothes and a tan?
Right.
You know.
and you know, He-Man has a tiger. Adam has a tiger. Wow.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, there's only about 30 people on the whole planet.
You make a valid argument. I mean, that cartoon show is basically, it's just a toy commercial. As all action cartoons of the 80s are. Mm-hmm. But anyway, what about Adam Warlock?
Oh
yeah, remember him?
Who? Alright, so he's a Man Beast? Okay.
Yeah.
Man Beast, I always want to call him Beast Man.
Like from He-Man.
Yeah. So he says, let me show you something. And he goes up he goes to the city and shows him, let's see, he shows him his disciples.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows the history of the world and
Counter-Earth,
which is about like our Earth, and a bunch of people killing each other. Yeah. And let's see, and he shows Adam with his friends, and then he shows his friends denying him.
Yeah.
Now I don't know that golden skinned guy. Who?
Right.
Warlock? I don't know.
Right.
Never heard of him.
Right. So again, parallels with Christ. They're doing a lot. Roy Thomas, who came up with Adam Warlock, he saw Jesus Christ Superstar and says, I want to do something like this in comic book superhero land. And so
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And actually, and Man Beast is tempting, like Jesus was tempted with the cities of Earth and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so Adam says, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Mm-hmm.
In other words.
And they have their fight.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. Adam, this is so weird. Because Adam destroys the world, basically.
Right. It's kind of cool. We have Richard Nixon as president. Let's see. Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom are cordial friends. Tony Stark, heart's just fine. So
so there's no superheroes, okay, except Adam.
Mm-hmm.
But Man Beast is convinced Adam to destroy the world, basically.
He destroys the Nations United building.
Yes.
And he destroys this Air Force plane, and he kills the pilot who jumped out and destroys his parachute. And which is interesting that he just doesn't kill him. He
lets him fall to his death. Yeah, it's messed up. But it's really weird because there's all this destruction, but it doesn't really happen because Adam has a choice to make. This is a Man Beast showing him what he can do with his power, basically. Right. And Adam chooses life. He chooses not to kill, and so that this doesn't actually happen. But it did in his mind, because he saw it all vividly, as if it were real.
Yeah.
So.
And he goes back to his friends and confronts them, and he touches their souls, and they actually are good, and they didn't deny him. So, it's Man Beast
messing with him.
So we get to more fighting because Adam is ticked off.
Right. So big fight with the Man Beast,
and he is destroyed. Kind of.
Yeah.
He's comic book killed.
Right. Because we know he comes back like in those Hulk issues we read.
Yeah. And
so
he comes back in the very next issue we have.
Oh yeah, which is Warlock #3. And guess who else is back for this issue? Gil Kane on pencils.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give the credits. The story in this issue is called The Apollo Eclipse. Mike Friedrich wrote it. Gil Kane penciled it, and Tom Sutton inked.
Yeah, let's see. Apollo Eclipse. Okay, it's a mouthful. Well, we find out that Adam does not know how to ride a boat because he's sitting on a bow on a speedboat.
But it makes a great splash panel.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
So this Apollo guy. All right, well, hold on. Before we meet Apollo, the High Evolutionary, instead of calling him on the phone or something like that, he grabs Adam and jerks him up into outer space, and they discuss whether or not to destroy the world.
Well, isn't that kind of like when Jesus went up on the mountain and talked to Abraham and all those guys? And also when he walked on water and calmed the storm because he asked God to, remember?
Yeah. Okay. But I thought it was...
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. So they've mentioned that the Hulk and the Rhino have visited Counter-Earth. And there have been repercussions from this.
Yeah, you wouldn't think the Rhino would be a good match for the Hulk. Although we do see him getting his butt kicked here.
Yeah.
The Rhino's tough, but I don't know. There's not much as strong as a Hulk. Yeah.
He's pretty strong. He's strong enough to hold his own against this Hulk. He's actually a recurring Hulk villain. He's one of those villains that I like how Marvel Comics is like, well, a villain will not just be the guy who fights one hero. Because if there was superheroes existed in this whole kind of world, you'd have the Rhino fighting Daredevil. You'd fight all kinds of whoever just showed up to fight him. And the Sandman is a recurring Hulk foe, and he fights the Fantastic Four in the Frightful Four and Spidey. So Sandman's busy.
Yeah.
But so these are examples of that.
Okay.
Electro fights Daredevil a lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just Spidey. So anyway.
Right, so we get to Apollo. He's got this cool sub that looks like a shark, but not crappy like a shark, but shark-like. It's pretty neat. It can't. If it's too obvious, it's stupid.
Yeah. So Apollo, is he kind of like a aquatic supervillain?
I have no idea what he can do. He just got a cool sub, and he's gonna blow up stuff.
Yeah. I noticed there's clearly no Namor on Counter-Earth either.
Right.
No super beings other than Adam, really.
Shouldn't there be an Atlantis though?
Should, but maybe Atlantis never sunk on Counter-Earth.
Yeah. So Adam goes down in the water and he fights a submarine, and he does a good job. So they're worried about a weather satellite, like, a weather satellite for crying out loud. But it's a big deal, supposedly.
Okay.
So they go to the space launch, and they're not let in, but then here comes a senator says, hey, let him in. Which is odd. And this guy here, Rex Carpenter, the guy is running for president.
Now, stop. Think about the name. Rex means king.
King Carpenter.
Okay, but spoilers, Rex Carpenter is the Man-Beast in disguise. And he becomes the president, and in those Hulk issues, he then reveals himself, and the president is the Man-Beast, and then there's problems, because he's going to destroy the world. But that's later. So.
Yeah. I do like the sub. The spaceship looks cool. The sub tries to take down the ship. The sub actually flies. And then Adam goes, and he can fly. And he flies to fight him. And there's a big battle.
Big fight with Apollo.
Yeah.
And Apollo is this handsome-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Apollo also Hermes?
No.
Are they different?
Different.
Okay. Because I was thinking Apollo was the Roman and Hermes was the Greek, or something.
Oh, for crying out loud! I can't think of it.
It's okay. We'll just move on. So.
So.
Man, Gil Kane's doing great work on this
Not
book.
bad.
Really.
Pretty cool looking.
Yeah. And then Apollo's true form is revealed. He's like an animal that was mutated into a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's like this warthoggy looking guy. He looks ugly, and it's really stark contrast between because he was showing himself as this really kind of a golden god-like guy, kind of like Adam.
Yeah, and he's a warthog with a mohawk.
Yeah, Gil Kane likes to do monsters with mohawks. He does that a lot.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he gets his butt kicked by Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he doesn't. He grabs the two
of Adam's disciples. Yeah.
And, yeah.
He threatens to kill him,
So he grabs the kid by the boy by the hair, which hurts. Okay.
Yes.
And the girl she's collapsed.
So the fight will continue into the next issue, but yeah.
We will not see it though.
No, we won't. But we will have more Adam Warlock next week, though.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So what do you think of the character of Adam Warlock and this series so far?
Oh, it could have been a little bit more subtle about the Christ imagery.
It's hard to be subtle with that,
I guess so. I haven't read enough to get into them. Adam Warlock, I haven't really seen him be regular, a regular guy or something, or talk or something like that. He's usually just fighting or arguing with the High Evolutionary.
Right.
The High Evolutionary is he's always bombastic. His buddies, Adam Warlock's buddies, are kind of, they haven't done anything or said anything funny or done anything interesting or helped any. They're kind of just there to be hostage or.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
I haven't. Yeah, well drawn. Stories are interesting. I haven't gotten into it yet, but there's always next week.
Yeah. That's interesting. You never see Adam Warlock be a regular guy, and that is a good point. He's
always in superhero mode.
Yeah, well, he was born a super being, and so it's kind of like if Superman never adopted a secret identity. He was just Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I really don't know his superpowers for that matter.
He has flight and super strength, and then he's got the soul gem, which gives him like some sensory stuff, and the soul gem can like absorb souls too, which is it's one of the infinity gems too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird.
Yeah,
he's got cosmic stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. It's not bad, but
okay, that's fine. So the next book we've got to talk about, there's something light and fluffy here. It's Richie Rich Success Stories, number 23 from Harvey Comics. Yeah. You had commented before you'd never read a Richie Rich.
And now I have.
And so I had to dig one out so we could read one.
The cover is a lie, because here's Reginald, and Reginald does not appear in the comic.
He is a regular, reoccurring character, but yeah, you're right. He doesn't appear in this issue.
I'm kind of looking forward to him.
He's
Reginald Van Doe.
You know about him?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
From Wiki.
Yeah, he's a snooty, snobby kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if he's like Richie's cousin or something like that.
I think so.
But yeah, he's the character you're supposed to hate, like Gladstone Gander.
Right.
But anyway.
Spider-Man, yeah, you're supposed to hate him.
Man.
No, I love Spider-Man.
I know you're kidding.
Yeah, you find Richie with a kite made of dollar bills
on the cover,
mm-hmm.
which that doesn't happen inside, but that's kind of typical of these things.
Well, usually the cover, a lot of times the cover does not show something that's in the book, or it's very kind of is, but not really.
Yeah,
which used to tick me off as a kid, but now I don't care.
Yeah.
James Lileks of Lileks.com, Lileks, has a series making fun of the covers, and some of them are just absurd, and it's a good read though. Yeah, there's a problem. Richie Rich throws money at it, and it fixes it. So, and absurdly, there's no reason to make a kite out of dollar bills.
Yeah,
but he does.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's talk about this. I think at the first, we'll skip over the one-pagers in this, because as we tend to do with these kiddie comics. But
this look, I didn't see these ads.
This house ad.
Yeah, it's Casper's Ghostland, Spooky Spooktown, Baby Huey, Hot Stuff. I forgot about Hot Stuff.
Yeah,
I did read Hot Stuff, I think.
I like Hot Stuff. Hot Stuff is cool.
Sad Sack, I used to read him. He's back from World War II.
I've read some Sad Sack. Sad Sack's pretty fun.
Yeah, the early stuff is pretty cool.
I thought it was a ripoff of Beetle Bailey, but I realized that Beetle Bailey is actually imitating Sad Sack.
Correct. Although Beetle Bailey was not an army cartoon. I think Beetle Bailey was college kid or college age.
Interesting.
So, and little dots, uncles and aunts. Yay.
Yeah.
I don't understand. There's some things about this I don't understand. So, what's the deal with the little dot? And so
we'll talk about it. So, but the real story, first story we're going to talk about is Mutiny on the Oceanic, and there were no writing credits for any of the stories in this, but this story, which is the longest in the whole book, is beautifully illustrated by the great Ernie Calon.
It is well done. I was impressed.
And I was able to pick out, I knew he done a lot of Archie and Casper, but looking at the way he draws the adults, it was easy to spot his style. He's done some work a little bit on the Legion of Superheroes. He's well known for his work at Warren, on Creepy and Eerie. He did Amethyst, Princess of Gem World. So a lot of, and many other things. He's had a long and great career. But it's interesting that he did kiddie comics, and then he did what we tend to think of as a little more serious, superhero stuff. Most artists do one or the other in comics, but he did both.
I thought they'd just do anything to put bread on their table.
Well, but usually it's, if you're doing one thing, you're not going to, if you're doing kiddie comics, you're not going to get work doing superhero stuff, and vice versa. He actually did a few issues of Dr. Solar, Man of the Atom, also. So.
Yeah. Actually, I see that.
Yeah, I think we may have looked at it.
The bad guy. And when he does a bad guy, I thought, ooh, he doesn't have a face. But
it was just shadow.
Shadow.
I like that a lot. So what's happening in this story, though?
Richie Rich gets a yacht. It's only 500 feet long.
Oh, is that all?
And Gloria is a great character. She refuses to have Richie Rich buy her expensive stuff. And this is kind of one of the themes of each of these comics.
Yeah, he's very extravagant and throws money at stuff, and she's into the simpler pleasures of life. And she's a real sweet girl, and she's kind of his girlfriend. So
yeah. So oddly enough, Richie Rich is in charge of hiring. So and what is he? 7 or 8, 9 years old or something?
It's kind of vague as to what Richie's age is.
So he hires these people who are actually criminals, and they're going to take over the boat.
Yeah, and then turn it into a pirate ship.
And it looks like there's only 3 people. There's a big beefy guy, and there's a guy with glasses who's kind of goofy, and the main character who's really evil, Boss. So,
yeah, who is bigger than either of his 2 henchmen. He's huge, hulking guy. He's like Solomon Grundy size.
Yeah. So they take over the ship fairly easily. We see Richie using suckers to, go
suction cups to escape from the cabinet he's been locked in. And he's walking on the side of the ship.
That's pretty cool.
Trying to signal for help or something.
And he doesn't. And then he's trying to tell this cruise ship they see to go back, but they just wave back, and so the cruise ship is robbed. by these criminals. Well, about 3 guys. That's really... A cruise ship has about, I don't know, thousands of people on it, for crying out loud.
Well, it's a comic book. So.
No, okay. Okay, so Richie escapes again, and I guess the guy's name is Manta. Is the bad guy's name. So they go off and they get a box of supplies. We're not told what the supplies are.
Right.
And so
Gloria's with Richie, by the way.
Yeah, and Gloria's not a bad companion. She's pretty smart and she's likable.
Yeah.
So they see another ship, so they're going to take it over, and then the ship runs away from them, and they can't figure out why. Here comes the Coast Guard, and Richie Rich just painted Pirates of War, Send Coast Guard on the side of the ship where you can't see it. So, and that's the story. Not bad. It's kind of, what are they going to do? How's he going to fix this? I don't know. I was kind of interested in how he's going to win. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's not Dostoevsky, but it was kind of fun.
Very few things are Dostoevsky, but one thing in this issue, there's some more stories, but noticeably absent are 2 very interesting characters. Richie's father, who I like a lot, and Professor Keenbean, who comes up with all these wacky inventions. You know, he's like Professor Potter from Jimmy Olsen.
Right.
Irona, the robot maid, I think she wasn't introduced until much later, or at least after this. But yeah, we do have some stuff with, like, for instance, what is the butler?
Well, Cadbury.
Cadbury, who is one of the great butlers in comics. But yeah, let me see.
Kind of a Jeeves type character.
Definitely.
Jeeves and Wooster are great little short stories.
Talk a little more about that. Not everyone knows what that is.
They done by P.G. Wodehouse, and the original stories of nothing, because everybody's concerned about something, it's really not that important, but that's what makes them fun. And Wooster is his twit, and Jeeves is his brilliant butler, and Jeeves is the proto butler of every butler you've ever seen
in fiction.
Yeah. It's the stories are great, so check them out.
Yeah. So the next story we're going to talk about, it's Little Dot and meets Aunt Go-Go, and no credits on writing her artist, which is too bad. But
yeah, these are all well done. They're decent. I mean, it's decently done.
Yeah. So Aunt Go-Go she's a real bossy lady.
I guess.
And she gets everything she wants by hollering at people. Even like making cars that don't go, or cans that won't lay, that kind of thing.
Or water boil. And it works.
Yeah. And so Little Dot is spending the day with her auntie and seeing her be just yelly pants. And then she goes home to her mother and tries the impatient act on her, and she gets scolded by Mom.
I've seen this in real life. There's a guy I knew in the Army called Creedy, and he was, I guess he was probably first class, and he had just a forceful personality that everybody just did what he said, whether they're sergeants or lieutenants or captains. He just bowled over everybody. And,
would you say that is a good leadership quality?
Oh.
Or was it he just kind of got his way?
It was good for a while, but he had a mercurial temper. He would just go angry super quick and hit somebody over the head with a broomstick, and got in trouble for that. And that was kind of the end of his Army career, I think. But I roomed with him, and he had an odd thing. He would very imitative, and if you did something, he would do it. So he was reading comics and playing video games when he was living with me. Then he lived with some guys from Chicago, and he was wearing do-rags and listening to rap. And he's a white guy. He looks like Popeye. And Yeah, but he did a Popeye imitation too, so he was cool with it. So.
Oh, right on.
And we call him Creedy Monster, and
Interesting.
And it worked. It was just sheer force of will made these people do this, and
That's interesting.
And he even did it over the radio, and it worked, and it's just awesome.
So he had that kind of a level of charisma or something.
He was a little short dude, but no one wanted to make him mad.
Interesting. Do you think it was the Popeye thing?
Could be.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. What comics were you reading in the Army?
Oh, probably heavy metal and stuff like that.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I subscribe. I have a subscription to that.
Yeah. Nat Lamp.
National Lampoon. Yeah.
And I read the wrestling magazines. No, not wrestling. The bodybuilding.
The Charles
magazines.
Atlas stuff.
No, it was
Joe Waiter.
Joe Waiter, and those magazines are amazing because in the stories, Joe Waiter is mentioned every page. It's usually 3 or 4 times, and we were thinking that he's actually going to make an army of muscle men to take over the government. And that probably is true. Yeah. Everyone. And it's just amazing what they did. He just died last year, I think.
Yeah, a year or 2 ago, yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting. But, okay, so... so the story...
Little Dot
tries to do the yelling, and it doesn't work on her mom. So...
Yeah.
So she says, "Oh, you can do that because everyone's afraid of her."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you read the stories in there?
No, I never read the text stories because they're just filler.
Oh, there's Stargazers, which is Puppy Love is about this little girl who looks at a puppy in a window, and they dream about both of them dream about a life together, and in the very end. The little girl goes off, and the puppy and her realize they'll never see each other again. Which is, oh my God, this is depressing. I cannot believe they put this in. Wow.
Okay. So we have a story with little Lotta, who is not little at all. But the story is called "Do Not Disturbed."
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with. What is up with little Lotta? I didn't look her up. I should.
She is a big girl,
but she's more of a tomboyish than a fat girl.
Even though she wears a skirt, she is tomboyish, yes.
Yeah, she pounds a few people, and then she's good, and she's get around really quick. Yeah. So she is here. She is trying to babysit these 2 kids who argue and make a lot of noise, and so their mother can get some sleep.
Mm-hmm. And
so the kids are really mean and nasty.
Mm-hmm. Very rambunctious.
Yeah. Oh, man. A stick of dynamite or something? It looks like they got... Oh.
You want to explain that a little bit?
Oh.
One kid's playing with fireworks?
Yeah, but it looks like it's as big as a stick of dynamite.
Okay.
So, little Lotta grabs it and throws it, and these guys are about to blow up a dam or something with explosives, and... the dynamite, the firecracker goes off at them, which would scare the crap out of me if that was happening to me.
Yeah. So the mother says, "Oh, I couldn't get to sleep. It was too quiet." So little Lotta gets her money and leaves, and they're arguing, and the mother is sleeping. It's a weird story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Little Lotta's trying to get to the hospital, and this is a news story.
Right.
It's not even titled.
I think, is it just a 1-pager, or is it go on? Okay.
It's 2 pages. And these kids are, you can't go through here. And
she boxes their ears.
Yeah, and
she's
beats
tough.
The crap out of them.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I want to mention this 1-pager. Is the entire thing about Richie Rich is that any problem you have can be solved by money. And his mother forgets the leash, so he makes a leash out of diamonds, bracelets, and all that stuff, which is...
yeah. Oh, that's who else we don't see. Dollar. Richie's Dalmatian.
Right. That's right. He's a Dalmatian.
Is he a Dalmatian, or is
Dalmatian?
Wah ha ha ha.
Yeah, but seriously, that's what he is.
Oh, okay. You looked it up, I take it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
The power of the internet.
Yes.
Confounds the
Okay.
Oh.
So here's a longer story. It's Richie Rich in Smile and Keep Healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a nurse that he's got in the house, and she's weird.
And if everything should be happy, so you see some unhappy, it makes you unhealthy, which is
Ludicrous.
ludicrous, but people are doing that.
Yeah.
And
She changes like some old family portrait to make this guy go from frown to smiles.
She changes Rodin's the thinker to Rodin's a happy dude. So, which, no, I like Rodin. He's the last sculptor I liked. So,
yeah.
And she puts a party hat on the eagle. What else does she do? She paints everything, and she makes a mountain. Oh, isn't that the snow look kind of pale? So she makes it
pink.
Pink. Yeah.
It's really strange.
Yeah, and that's
she makes a scarecrow look happy,
and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know.
It's kind of a nothing story. It's so weird though.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of 2-pagers. Cadbury's exercising with 2 huge rubies.
Right.
And
why are you so frustrated by this?
No, it's just sort of the absurdity. Everything's diamonds and rubies and blah 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 blah. He's just too rich or something. I don't know. Richness is his superpower.
It's very ostentatious.
Yeah.
And that's so here's a story. It's called it's Richie Rich and I'll Be in Touch.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Gloria is going to go camping with her father, and the dad wants her to not have any contact with Richie while they spend this time together. But Richie has other plans.
Yeah, no, he really wants to be away from the world, TV and telephones and all that. Mm-hmm. So it would be good for you to be away from Richie Rich.
The father, so Gloria's dad says this. Okay.
And then, but Richie gives her this package, and it has a TV, and it has radio earrings.
And that all is like communications or recordings and stuff from Richie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's...
And the father discovers each one along the way, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Let's see. Oh, here's a story. Cadbury in his own story. Cadbury, the perfect butler, in driving lessons. So he's giving this... is it Richie's mother?
Yeah,
yes, driving lessons. Oh, boy.
Yeah, she's awful.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Cadbury keeps his cool, and that's what he always does.
Yeah.
And which is very Jeeves.
Mm-hmm.
And in the story, it's really funny because Jeeves will make some kind of expression, and it's so rare that it's hilarious because it's something hit him that hard.
Right.
And it's pretty cool. So she messes up this beautiful car, so they get in an old pickup truck, and she destroys that. So then they get into her tank, and
then she can't control it, and she's running down Cadbury.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much the extent of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I like the characters in Harvey Comics. They're fun.
Yeah, they do.
We got one more story from Little Dot to kind of finish the issue off, and it's called Flower Power.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a little shop of horrors, though.
Yes, it is.
But not as creepy as that.
Right.
Nobody gets eaten.
At least it doesn't sing.
Yeah. Well, it's original from the 50s. It's a horror movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
singing.
Right. In the 80s, they made it a musical. I know.
Yeah, and I love Steve Martin as a dentist.
Of course, hilarious. That's great.
Yeah, big Steve Martin fan. All right, so Little Dot gets a plant that eats and everything.
Yeah, it's a carnivorous plant.
Mm-hmm. And he raids the fridge, and he's eating a whole chicken. And she orders a tranquilizer. A plant tranquilizer, which I didn't know existed. And then so it's the plant shrinks down. It was getting huge. Now it shrinks down, and now it's reading Wendy comics from Harvey. My God, it is a horror story. No, loads of fun though. I enjoy that devil out of it. And,
good.
I like the character of Gloria and Richie Rich. I would think that he would ignore the hell out of me, but he doesn't. Little Lotta, I didn't know what to expect from her. She was okay, and Little Dot too.
I like how Rich in the wealth doesn't make Richie Rich like an awful person. He's not. He has a sense of decency. He's a nice kid.
Right.
Which is purely fantastical. But
right. Oh, he can be a nice. Although, you can either be sanctimonious, rich kid and rebel against your parents, or you can be just a rich, snotty kid. It seems like. I'm sure there are nice rich kids, but you just don't read about them in the paper.
Well, yeah, because they make the paper. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
For crashing Dad's car or whatever. It's funny. I think Casper the Friendly Ghost gets a little bit sanctimonious about being nice or lecturing people about somebody could have been hurt. Mm-hmm. You don't see Richie Rich do that.
Right.
So, anyway. It's just an observation.
Okay. Well, until next time, we'll be seeing you in the funny papers.